Hey, what's up, Vox and Hops heads? I'm Matt, the vocalist of Cryptopsy and the host of the Vox and Hops podcast, brought to you by Sound Talent Media, where I sit down with fellow metal musicians to talk about their lives, music, and craft beer. I hope you guys have been having a great week. I most certainly have been. Today's episode was recorded live last week at the Vox and Hops Thirsty Thursday virtual hang. I am super stoked to be back with Andrew Gerrity once again. This is his third appearance on Vox and Hops, and he is the first person to do that. Why? Because I love Andrew Gerrity. He is one of the craziest, funniest, and most intelligent people that I know, and it's always a blast to have a chat with him. Get ready, people. This is Vox and Hops episode number 211.
I warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
What's up, everybody? Today, I am back with Andrew Gerrity, one of my favorite Vox and Hops alumni, so much so that I've had him on the podcast twice before, but it's not enough. I always need more Gerrity. How you doing, Gerrity? Let's start with who is that? What's going on here, Gerrity?
That's my bud. That's the epic lamb.
Of course it is.
No one's any of y'all that listen to the other ones hear me talk about my fucking dog all the goddamn time. That's where he is.
Let's start with an easy yet complex question I like to throw at people. How have you been coping with this glorious year of 2020?
Crippling depression. I mean, it's funny, but I can't lie. Like, lots of that. At the beginning of the year, trying to be positive and do shit. Like, I was on this tip for like 4 months where I was getting up at like 6 a.m., 7 a.m. every day, and I'd go run 6 miles, and then I'd go straight to the gym, come home, eat breakfast, all that shit, get super healthy. And then one day I just didn't feel like doing it. And then I kept not feeling like doing it. And then I haven't done it since. And that
Really?
I just stopped going. Like, I stopped going to the gym, canceled membership, everything. I just didn't feel like it. And then there was a trip where after that, I don't know if they're connected, maybe, but then I went on a tip where I was basically drinking like 18 to 24 fucking packs every night. And then I went on a string for like a month. I didn't do anything but eat fast food. So I just eat like Wendy's and Taco Bell. And that was pretty crap. So, and pizza. I ate pizza. But yeah, most of those, along with not doing anything I enjoy other than like watching TV, which I hear are all signs of that depression thing. I'm not sure because I'm not a head doctor, but it wouldn't surprise fucking anyone. So that. But I mean, I worked a little bit recently, but other than that, I don't really have shit to do. So it's mostly like watch all my money disappear, which is a fun game. Where it's like, you log into your bank and you go, how broke am I today? And then you look and go, fuck, yeah. It's like, oh, that's great. Fucking start a year with like 20 grand, and then you look at it and you're like, my savings are gone, yeah. Super fucking dope.
It's rough, especially for people such as yourself. You're such a road dog. You are constantly on the road. It must almost be very strange to be home this long. It's like an impossibility.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked up. Like, I had a few times where, like, at the beginning, I would out of habit, like, I have a fair amount of emails that get routed to a sub, folder in my email that's all, like, my tour-related shit. So that, like, porn emails and fucking beer orders and shit don't get lumped in together with it. So it's like, shit like that. So and out of habit, I caught myself, like, when I would check my email, fucking checking that. And then it took me a bit to be like, you dumbass, you're not going on fucking tour. The world's on fire. Like, what are you doing? And it took a bit to break out of that loop of, like, out of old habit, just checking it and shit. But yeah, it's fucking weird for sure. It's definitely taking getting used to, and realizing that I haven't fucking left the city I fucking grew up in for, actually, no, it's not true. I left it once, but other than that, fucking for the entire year is like real fucking head fucky.
You're never home, so it must just be, there must be something that's nice, something that you can appreciate about staying in one place for so long versus constantly being on the move.
I mean, the only real upside to all of this, my grandparents are both disabled, and like they got shit going on. They're old. Old people get fucked up. It's what they do, and then they die. Whatever. But they're both disabled, so like my dad and I would split like helping take care of them. But this year, because everything is so mega fucked up, it's become like, it's been kind of nice that I'm here because now I get to go over there and like, my dad moved out of state, so I go over there every week, you know, depending on the week, sometimes, you know, once a week, sometimes a couple times a week, and I go over there and help fucking take care of them. And I'm actually at the end of the year, I'm going to be moving back in with them to help take care of them until all this COVID shit gets figured out. And also because like hemorrhaging money is stupid.
Huh?
But so that's been kind of cool, is that like when shit, like we had a hurricane hit 2 weeks ago, a hurricane, whatever, it was a fucking Cat 1, it's not real hurricane. But it hit, and the day it hit, my grandma's got kind of like early stage dementia, and my grandpa's like diabetes and some other shit, so they both can't really do a fucking thing. And I got a call from them, and neither of them could remember if they heard their generator kick on for the test that morning. And I'm like, you know, there's a hurricane coming today, right? And they're like, yeah, that's why we called. And you want to kind of be like, why didn't you fucking tell me earlier? But you can't, because it's not their fault. So I ended up having to drive out there, and I was actually at work for once out in St. Pete, and I drove back, you know, an hour to get back to their house. And by that point, the rain had started, so I had to like a little pop tent outside and got the tools out of the shed, and I'm like pulling the generator apart to see why it's not working. Meanwhile, 60 mile an hour fucking wind gusts blasting me and fucking, you know, rain pelting me and shit. So it's like things like that are nice, because otherwise they would have been fucked. You know, luckily that nothing happened. The power didn't go out or anything. But if it had, they wouldn't have had a fucking generator, and you know, my dad doesn't know how to do all that shit. So, and nobody's coming out to fix a generator. Like, oh, there's a hurricane, our generator doesn't work. They'll be like, yeah, sucks to be you. I don't know. So like shit like that. I'll say it's cool, but it's not cool so much as it is like, it's, you know, it's handy, I guess, to be able to be there in that situation.
That's probably like the closest thing that you've experienced to being on the road, those rush moments of just pure madness getting things together.
Yeah, where it's like, oh shit, I gotta panic, we gotta do this right now. Yeah, no, that's very much like being on the road, you know. And driving and sitting in traffic was, because I haven't driven anywhere. That reminds me of Tour 2, where it's, you know, sitting behind a bunch of dumbasses that haven't figured out the two pedals yet. But
what are you sipping on there, Gerrity? Vox&Hops is all about hanging out with my friends, talking about their lives, music, and craft beer. What are you drinking there, Gerrity?
Okay, so this is a Hardywood Singel Belgian-Style Blonde that actually Vox&Hops alumni and fucking awesome dude Witty sent me.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I sent him a bunch of beers from around Tampa that I really enjoy for his birthday. And Witty being Witty, even though it was a birthday present, was like, no, I gotta send you some shit. And I'm like, it's a birthday present. You just take it, and you know, we'll be square. But Witty's fucking awesome, so he sent me this giant like styrofoam cooler with beers all packed in it and shit, and tons of great stuff. And this is actually the last one. I saved it.
I appreciate that. And countless times I hear that name being responsible for why they're drinking craft beer. And so huge cheers to the Stout King himself, Mr. Dave Witty. What's that now?
Now we're switching it up to the Pig Destroyer Adroit Theory Octagonal Stairway Imperial Milk Stout, a nice low 10.5% stout.
Damn, yes. Hail the metal ass kings at Adroit Theory Brewing for just making some of the most intense brews that I've ever tasted. Just so good, and the artwork is so sick, so metal.
That shit's real good. Gets you real fucked up too.
On my side, I'm drinking something very special, which is brand new, and I'm very excited to share this with everybody.
watching right now and yourself. I showed it to you before we started this. This is Crisptopsy from Kahnawake Brewing Company. This is a New World Pilsner. It is the very first Cryptopsy collab beer, and I'm super stoked that it happened. This is a New World Pilsner. It is a Pilsner that has been double dry hopped with Mosaic hops. It is very cool, and I'm very stoked it happened. Shout out to Drew Stevens, the Vox&Hops alumni, for making this brew happen. Let me crack this open and tell me a little bit about, so, you know, a good thing that did happen is that you got to drink a bunch of great beer during this pandemic. So what would have been some of the white whales that you did get your hands on because you were home and you didn't have to just keep running all around the globe?
Oh man. So like, just to level it real quick, 90% of what I drank is Miller Lite because we have established
Say that.
I fucking love Miller Lite. It's cheap and it gets me drunk. And also, if you do the math, Miller Lite, if you take the caloric intake, the alcohol level, and the price, Miller Lite will get you the drunkest for the least amount of calories at the lowest price. Just saying. It's fucking, I'm a bet man. I like them odds. But what actually kind of sucks is I always miss like Tampa Bay Beer Week and all the like local brew shit here from like all the breweries around here that do cool things because I'm never fucking here. So like this year, there was a part of my head when I first wasn't able to tour. I was like, well, you know what? At least I'll be able to get some of the cool beers and shit. Fucking wrong. Most of the breweries around here were fucking closed most of the year, and then they finally let them do like package, which has always been illegal here, like for a lot of places. Like if it's a bar brewery, you can't sell to go unless you have like a special license. So a few of them got like that wasn't an issue, but then the you know city and the state were like, fuck it, just sell out of the building, but don't let anybody inside. So but they weren't going to do these massive, you know, seasonal, you know, beers that they always do because there's usually big reveal events and shit. And they can't fucking do any of that stuff. So I didn't get to do any of the fucking sick local, like, you know, seasonals that they do. So that was real fucking dope. Missing the only year that I'm ever here is I don't get fucking a single goddamn one of them. And then there's all the obvious, you know, like yearly brews. Like I usually hit fucking, Three Floyds every year at least once or twice because somebody somewhere we're going to be leaving, you know, Ohio, and I'll be like, hey, if we leave early, I can park us at Three Floyds. We can be there when they open, and we'll be in Chicago in time for load in, you know. And bands don't usually object to that, and Three Floyds don't object to having sick bands show up. So, I mean, we did it with Aborted actually, so that was pretty great. But yeah, there's like, I didn't get the only seasonal I got this year, and that's just because they're semi-local, is Funky Buddha's doing a weird like mixed cocktail series right now that's kind of dope, where they're doing like, you know, different mixed drinks but in the form of, you know, a beer. So
very interesting.
Yeah, so they'll do like a gin and tonic kind of thing, which is, I mean, that's a bullshit drink anyways. It's just neutral spirits and essence of juniper. And juniper's, I don't know if you know this, juniper is, do you guys have fucking like that green floor cleaner? I forget the fucking name of it.
Clorox?
No, not Clorox. That's goddamn bleach. No, it's like the green it's like the evergreen pine tree ass smell.
Pine Sol.
Yeah, pine sol. So that smell of pine sol, that is the juniper pine. That is basically the fucking smell of the berries of the shit they used to make gin. So gin to me is just fucking pine sol. So gin and tonic can eat shit. On a little tangent there, but whatever. It's the same fucking thing.
I like gin and tonics personally, but
a lot of people like them. But you know what? They probably would like pine sol and tonic too if it wouldn't fucking rot their stomach out. Just saying, it's the same goddamn smell.
This Crisptopsy Pilsner Supremacy from Kahnawake is absolutely incredible. It totally smells melony on the nose, which is amazing. And then it has a beautiful cereal malty finish, the crispy Pilsner on it. I love it. I love it. Everyone here that's listening, head on out to Kahnawake Brewing Company and pick it up if there are some left.
I'm going to be honest, by the way, I missed the 2 puns that were on there because I'm so used to seeing that. I read Cryptopsy Whisper Supremacy and was like, oh, that's
Yes.
fucking neat. And then you said it, and I was like, God damn it. That's
I know,
fucking,
we had to.
no,
The
that's
whole
good.
story behind the beer is the brewer, Drew Stevens, wrote me during the summer and said, all he wrote was Crisptopsy. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Crispy
Listen,
boys are back.
I see we're getting a lot of gin love in the fucking chat. All I'm saying is, I have drank gin, and a quote from my younger years that was relayed to me one night was, "Everyone knows I hate gin. I drank gin probably one time in the last 10 years, and I was particularly in a bad mood, and I was just pounding gin. They're like, why are you drinking gin? You hate gin." And my response, I guess, was I told them that I like to drink gin because it tastes bad and it feels like I'm doing something bad to myself, and I hate myself. So gin's good for that, I guess, if you want to, punish yourself and really know that you're doing some shit you shouldn't be. So
Speaking of suffering, what is going on with this project, You Suffer?
Oh, so I tried to get them in the fucking group chat today. It's like done. Like,
Good.
yeah, like we fucking sat through, we went and like Chris, the guitar player, like other dude that I wrote all of it with, was like a buddy of mine that I grew up with. He and I have sat down and basically just been crashing out fucking songs. And originally it was like, hell yeah, we'll get this knocked out, and we were going to get it done this year. And at the beginning of the year, we had been like about 3/4 done with it. And then COVID happened. And then everybody's lives went to shit. And then it's less about now about, being able to record or whatever, go to a recording studio, as much as it is like everyone fucking covering all their bases. And like our singer, at first didn't know if he was going to be able to work. And then he was like, oh, I get to work from home. But then like everybody's hours getting fucked up and shit. And it's one of those things that all of us were like, yeah, we could go drop a bunch of money to go record, or we could not and wait and see how all this shit pans out. Because Florida, while like Chris is a truck driver, Josh works in an office, and me, at first none of us knew if we were going to be able to work. So like Florida had one of the lowest unemployment like payouts in the fucking country. So for like the limited time I was on unemployment, I think I was getting like $83 a week, which,
Jesus Christ,
if you add that up, doesn't cover my rent, much less food, anything. So like
Miller Lite,
yeah, so it was just like, oh, so from the get-go it's like, oh, I'm gonna hemorrhage money just to pay my rent. Cool. So like it's done though. We have like demos and shit recorded, and like we have a Google Drive where like, so I have this thing which started off as a joke, and then we realized it wasn't a joke, where the best riffs come out of me when I'm like hammered and just having an existential crisis at 3 a.m. And all of the songs, actually, when I upload them to the Google Drive, I have this bad habit of really bad habit of giving them of
horrible names.
Yeah, so and they're not like horrible offensive, it's just very indicative of the state of mind that I was in when I was doing it. So I'm just looking it up right now.
I know,
so
I'm
there's
excited.
so there's like one that I was just fucking smashing discordance axis. You get things like DA worship, but then you get waking up disappointed, let's get super ignorant. Hey, no barking. Somebody woke him up. And self-loathing, ripping off Holy Mountain, great stuff like that, where it's just like whatever the fuck was in my brain wasted at fucking 3 a.m. is what gets typed in. So like now one of the song titles actually is Waking Up Disappointed.
That's actually cool.
Yeah, so it was like one of those things where, and it's funny because Josh is like, where the fuck did that come from? I'm like, you never had that where you wake up and you go, oh, fucking this again? I guess.
I just want to be in the cab of the bandwagon, man.
Yeah, but yeah, we've got that. I've actually got, Ethan, right? Yeah, I got Ethan, like Primitive Man, fucking every other great fucking band on the planet. I've known Ethan for fucking years, and I talked to him about it when we were on the Cattle tour. He's actually doing some art for a shirt for us, which is going to be real fucking gnarly and bum a lot of people out. When I told him, like, I mean, if you know him, you know his mindset. When I told him about it, and if you've seen any of his art, I told him about it. He was mega stoked, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm into that." So, and I told you fucking who's doing the fucking drums. So, I talked to him about it actually the last time we were all here. He and I were texting about it, and he's like, "Yeah, but he's obviously been busy, so doing his records." But yeah, so it'll be out probably by the end of the year, maybe beginning of next year. And just to give you an idea of the ignorant, stupid bullshit, so I'm doing a limited run of some of them. So we're gonna do a 10-inch because nobody does 10 inches, and 10 inches are badass. And a limited amount of them, I've gotten like really heavy grit sandpaper, and I'm gonna cut out just where it says "You Suffer" on the front. I'm gonna glue it to the label. And the sandpaper is thick enough that if you put it under pressure, it'll shred through the plastic bag, so that if anybody tries to jam it into their record collection, it's just going to fuck up what's on either side of it and destroy the bag. And then when they pull it out, they'll be like, "What the fuck?" And in big bold letters on the front, it'll just say "You Suffer." So fuck them. I think it's really funny. They can eat shit too.
You're so involved with the world of touring. When do you realistically see touring coming back?
I mean, honestly, fucking 2020 never. Fucking no, like 2022 maybe, because 2021's already fucked. Because unnamed countries, at the moment, haven't taken it seriously and are fucking it up for everybody else. So we're not gonna, have anything on book. And I know because a bunch of my tours that were already supposed to happen got canceled. Because I had shit at the beginning of 2021 gone. I just had something that was fall of 2021 get fucking canceled.
Really?
So
Okay.
from my perspective, none of the shit I was gonna do, and I was double booked up because the 2020 shit and the 2021 shit just ran into each other. And so from like the beginning of the year to the end of the year, I already had shit ready to go, but everything has canceled up until November. So
Jesus.
maybe if we're lucky, November, December, we might have something. And if we do, it's gonna be fucked anyways, because none of the venues like have figured out how to have a real show. They figured out how to have like small capacity, but that's different. But you can have smaller capacity shows, but that doesn't help a lot of venues, because certain venues over a certain size, they have a cost associated with keeping them open. So you can't afford to fiscally responsibly keep them open enough to pay the bills and have no people in them. Like if a venue costs X amount to run, having less than a certain number of people, you're never going to break past the amount you need to keep that venue open. So they're just going to hammer, they're not going to lose money to have the venue open. Like there's no amount of alcohol sales in the fucking world that 30 people are going to make to keep that shit open. So
who's going to take the cut, right? They're going to try to make the artist
and here's the other
take
thing.
the cut.
From the inside too, what a lot of people don't realize is that like touring is going to be mega fucked up if and when it does come back, because like Live Nation just redid their contracts with a bunch of like how they handle shit on bands, and they basically want bands to take the shit for everything now. Like everything that goes wrong, they want fucking the bands to eat shit for. And they also want the bands to take a pay cut and all these other things. And it's like, bro, that's never going to happen. Like your inability to manage your money, like it says a lot about a company when you've been making, millions and millions and millions of dollars, and then the second the economy stops, all of a sudden you're in free fall and you're in panic mode, and you're like, oh, everyone else has to eat shit, but we need to survive. It's like, nah, man, you need to manage your shit better. Like there's a big thing in the States with a lot of these companies where they constantly spend money as investments in the company so that they don't technically have profits. And if you don't have profits, then you don't have to pay taxes on it. So they never have profits, so they're never paying taxes. But then all of a sudden, that whole system goes out the window when you have like, oh, the money isn't constantly coming in. maybe having those fucking profits would have been a good fucking idea to have some sort of a windfall, you fucking dickbags. But no. And then a certain unnamed government gives an unreasonable amount. I think it was today, actually. I read a study on it where they gave an unreasonable amount of small business money to not small businesses. Let's put it that way. Meanwhile, venues that I've been going to for 10 years, a number of them don't fucking exist anymore. Which also, people don't realize, it doesn't matter how much you want the bands to come. Where the fuck are they going to play? And it's not a matter of like, oh, there's other venues in my town. How many times did you have 3 bands playing at 3 venues on one day? What happens when there's only one venue left?
Exactly.
Like, you have to severely cut down on what a viable amount of touring is. Like, and everybody's going to want to go out. Like, everybody and their mother's going to want to go out.
I was
You're going to have every
that.
band trying to tour, but fucking where the fuck are they going to play? And if your town doesn't, let's say that like your town doesn't have a fucking venue anymore, if the next town over has one, but there's, no venue in between that town and the previous town, certain parts of the U.S. just aren't going to get hit as much as they used to. I mean, you talk about them like the C markets, but like whatever shithole in fucking Montana that nobody plays is going to get played even less than it already was, because I guarantee you, instead of having 3 venues you could play between fucking Idaho, Montana, and, Western Washington, there's going to be one that they all get to share, and who the fuck knows where it'll be. So it's like a lot of people think when touring comes back, it'll be like, oh yeah, we'll just go and the shows may be weird. No, man, like we might not be playing. It might be a tour where bands go out for like a month and they only hit A markets, like, and that's just going to be the way it is until somebody figures out how to fix this fucking clusterfuck, which sucks dick. But
absolutely. It's gonna take years for it to recover to where we were before this.
Yeah, it is, unfortunately. But goddamn.
But we still have hope, and we still believe, and we still love it, which is why we keep doing it.
Yeah.
I wanna throw you over to the Thirsty Thursday gang. But before that, I want to get one last question out of you. I don't believe I've asked this to you, at least not on a recorded podcast.
What's up?
It's my typical wrap-up question, so it's nothing too crazy.
Okay.
What is your hangover cure?
Oh, you haven't asked me that one. So if I'm planning ahead, which usually is not a thing when I have a hangover, just being honest, I don't plan to get a hangover. I just plan to get real fucked up and come whatever may. Usually I don't do a goddamn thing. I just fucking suffer it. But if I know it's going to happen, I'm a big fan of Pedialyte. It's made to keep babies from getting, when they get the diarrhea, so they don't shit themselves to death. But also, so salty, greasy food, and not because half the fucking idiots that are like, oh, it's salty, greasy food works. No, your body needs lipids and salt, because when you get fucking wasted, you piss a ton, and you're devoid of salts and lipids, which is lipids are what make your piss kind of cloudy. Well, one of the many things. So when you're pissing a bunch the next morning and it's just not clear because you're not just straight piss and alcohol. So replacing those works. And then usually fucking aspirin, like a handful of aspirin, or if I just want to ride it out and I'm like too lazy to do any of that, drink like half a bottle of Robitussin, because if I gotta have a hangover, hold up, don't even fucking hate, bud. I'm pretty sure I got it next to me. Oh shit,
Is it next to your bed?
hell yeah, baby. Got Tussin. Yeah, you just get some Tussin, and
I love it.
you get a ton of it. And at least if you have to be miserable, you'll be mega fucked up and sleep real well.
Jesus.
Also, the raspberry Robitussin pairs really well with the key lime fucking LaCroix.
Okay, this is an animal experience. I love it.
Or key lime, or the lime White Claw. We call that the Robo Claw. I'm not saying it's for everybody. Mixing alcohol and Robitussin's a weird bag, but
You need to be able to take a nap after.
yeah, I'm real good at taking naps on that shit. Real good.
Oh, gee. Gerrity, you're always a pleasure. Always so much fun to pick your brain and just sit back and listen to you go on. I am now going to open up the floor to the Vox and Hops Thirsty Thursday gang. I'm going to switch up this view, and you guys know the drill.
It's not goddamn lean, you fucking nerds. Lean has fucking codeine in it, and I can't drink that because I'm deathly allergic to fucking opiates.
If you would like to ask Gerrity a question, raise your digital hand. You can do that on your desktop if you're on that by clicking the More button and raising a hand. If not, it is in the participants. I can't remember. How do we raise a hand? You guys know how to do this. Raise your digital hand. People know how to do this. If you want to ask Gerrity a question, there we go. We got Dervites, who's got it to go on. You go first, Philip Dervites.
Dervites.
Well, hello.
What up, baby?
What's up?
Not shit. Just drinking, hanging out, looking at my
The
dog.
drill. That's what we love drinking. So I'm going on that Hopman from Overhops. I thought about you. I thought about the shirt. I thought about you. So I was like, but I don't have a Vox and Overhops. So let's go on Hopman.
Nice.
So yeah, my question is simple. Have you ever thought about a sponsorship with Miller Lite?
Yeah, I would love to fucking do that, but I would probably need to be touring for that to happen. And the problem is that I drive a lot on tour, and I don't see Miller sponsoring me while I'm driving. Be like, this is the driver for all the bands, and after a hard day of work, he enjoys a crisp Miller Lite. Something about the whole driving and drinking Miller thing, they're probably not going to get attached to.
Yeah, of course, but just being like, oh, this guy, not that he's driving, but like,
yeah,
you love Miller Lite so much that you want a sponsorship and have money from them.
If my fucking bands ever, like, if they either hadn't imploded or we ever actually toured, I would make a go of it. Be like, listen, you give me some Miller Lite, I promise I'll drink that shit on stage every day because I'm doing it fucking anyways. And also, the venues love it because when you roll into a venue and you're like, what beer do you want? You have all these fucking dorks that are like, oh, we only drink green bottle beer. That's good. That's not me. I roll in and I go, I want a crisp American Light fucking beer, namely Miller Lite. And they're like, wait, seriously? Okay, yeah, here's a bunch of it. And then you get shit done. So, I mean, it works in spades because then you can just get super ripped.
Oh, yeah, that's perfect. And because of you, maybe I will try some Miller Lite. Just to see if it works as a diet.
I just converted my grandpa because he always drank like old Budweiser and Busch back in the day, and he was diabetic, but he's like been really good for years and years, and now he's considered pre-diabetic, and they told him he was allowed to have a beer now and again. So I brought him Miller Lite. He was like, this shit's good. And I'm like, yeah, it's crisp. And he's like, yeah, and I can drink like 3 of them. And I'm like, yeah. It's the point. You don't get super wasted right away. Now, if you drink like 10 of them, you'll get fucking ripped. But
yeah, that's perfect. I would try it. Thanks, man.
Hey, next time I'm up there, I'll bring you one. How about that shit?
Oh, I'm always down for that, man. Always.
You can fucking drink it with me, I promise.
Fuck yes.
Beautiful. We got Lindsay who has a question. Go for it.
Oh, God.
I signed on just so I could ask you an obnoxious question, and it's not really that obnoxious.
Is it about when I peed myself?
No.
Okay.
We're not going to relive that period of our friendship, I feel. But my question for you, what is your favorite rom-com?
Damn. She's good. So blowing it out there, I have a secret, not anymore so secret love of rom-coms because I need that escapism in my life.
I've been watching Hallmark movies, Hallmark Christmas movies, dude.
No,
the world is shit.
They don't do that shit for me. I need like something good.
Well, they are bad. So
yeah. What's that fucking one with Gerard Butler and Homegirl that I think is hot as fuck? Hold on, I gotta look this up because I'm kind of sauced now and I can't fucking remember it. Something about the truth. The ugly truth, I think. Hold on.
Yeah, it's the ugly truth.
Right.
Yeah, the ugly truth. That shit fucking rules, dude. Because he's an absolute prick bastard, and he rolls in and fucking is just she wants nothing to do with him, and then they're forced to work together. And it's one of those things, and I can relate to that because I have dated people that met me and they're like, "You're an absolute piece of shit," and I'm like, "Yeah, kinda, I guess." And then over time, they learn not to hate me as much, and then we get to smash dirty parts, and that's kind of cool.
You're like
Yep.
a fungus. You grow on people.
Yeah, nobody's figured out the fucking cure yet.
Uh,
It's pretty dope. I mean, from my perspective, maybe not for them, but yo, Hugh Grant does have some fucking dope rom-coms. There's some real good ones. Although Hugh Grant fucking wore that shit a bit thin because that's all he did for like years. But
but
yeah, no.
also, so follow up. Your favorite. Do you have a new drink instead of the
No, Sparkletini.
Sparkletini? All right. And what was the other one? The birthday cake?
Oh yeah, no,
vodka?
you take cake vodka and you mix that shit with OJ, and it tastes
That's
like
what
an
it
orange
was.
cake, and it gets you fucked up. That shit's so
Dude.
good.
I
Yo,
know
Raz-
I was trying to remember because 27 Dresses came on, which of course makes me think of you.
27 Dresses, Katherine Heigl, hell yeah.
Which makes me think of you, which makes me think of the week you stayed at our house and we got like really fucked up
And I
on.
smelled up your couch.
Yeah, I had to throw you out. It was too much. The stink was permeating the other rooms. It was like a whole.
That's 'cause I
You
was
gotta
sweating
let
fuck.
them take showers too. That's the issue.
No.
That's a whole other story, but
Oh man.
another time.
Awesome. Thank you, Lindsay. Who else would like to ask Mr. Gerrity a question?
And the questions dry up. I
The
mean,
fear. Oh, we got Jorge. Go for it, Jorge.
light me up.
Hey man, how you doing? Thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
No problem, bud.
In these days of lockdowns and quarantines and nothing to do out there, what are you listening to? What albums or what bands are in your, rotation list?
Oh man. One thing that I've been like really, really fucking hard dicked about is Drop Dead just released their first record in about 8 billion years. And that's been really good. I actually have we have a fucking like group chat where we just blast like sick new records that we find to each other because nobody's fucking doing anything else. And there's been some fucking really, really goddamn good ones in there. That new Venomous Concept was pretty dope. If you know who that is.
Yep.
Yeah, that shit fucking ruled. We got I got really fucking big on a few like 80s Japanese hardcore bands. There's been like kind of a revival with playing, I don't know what to call it because we used to call it Japcore, but you're not allowed to call it that anymore because people say it's offensive. But like specifically that style of Japanese hardcore, I've been listening to a lot of that, and then mainly I just listen to like grind and crust punk, like whatever happens to be around. I kind of live in a fairly narrow world, and I don't pay attention to a lot of like if there's bands that I'll pay attention to, but in regards to new music, I'm fairly behind a lot of the time because I just want to listen to like old crust punk and old grindcore, and every so often new shit comes out that really fucks my brain up and makes me like blown away. But if it's not something that really strikes me super hard out of the gate, I generally am just kind of like, okay, it's cool. Oh yeah, there's a if you don't know, there's a band called the MC5 from way back in the day, and I was blasting a sick cover of Kick Out the Jams, but instead of the MC5, it's Bad Brains with Henry Rollins on vocals covering.
I saw that.
That's cool.
Oh my god, I've been so fucking hyped on that song. It's so good. Like it really fucked my whole brain up. What else we get? I'm trying to think. I'm trying to go through my fucking notes and see what I have saved, but nothing's coming up now because it's been fucking too long. Yeah, that Drop Dead is the main thing. Which if none of you have heard it, go out and listen to the fucking new Drop Dead. That was fucking mega badass. That band has been a staple for fucking ever. And they haven't released a record in like I forgot how long. Oh, record of the goddamn year, Hum released a fucking new record. And I know that might be unexpected, but that fucking Hum record, like, I mean, it was 22 years, I think, between their last record and now.
Wow.
Yeah, but Inlet is fucking flawless. I probably listened to it on repeat for no bullshit like 3 weeks. That's my fucking record of the year, like by leaps and bounds. And I used to argue with like a bunch of friends whether Downward is Heavenward or You'd Prefer an Astronaut is the better of the two records. But now that doesn't matter because the answer is the new record.
Very interesting. I did not hear that, and I will listen to it.
Yeah, fucking, it's real mega badass. It's fucking weird, but it's good shit.
Awesome. We will take one last question from Alexi. Go for it, Alexi.
Hey, Gerrity, how are you?
What up, man?
Nice to meet you. I just want to say I love your authenticity and your genuineness. Like, you seem like just someone that I think everyone here would just want to chat with just for the hell of it, you know what I mean? So that's great to have you here.
Thanks, bud. I mean, you're all, if any of you run into me or find out that I'm on tour somewhere, you're more than welcome to come hang out, and you can listen to more of my bullshit anytime.
Yeah. I hope you'll have a few extra Miller Lights for us, but you know, that's another question.
I always have those. What's up, man?
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I didn't do too much like background research on you. Like, I mean, you seem like a very interesting figure. You have a lot of experience. I'm just kind of curious, like, say in your early days of work, what kind of was that one? I mean, you can answer this however you want. Either that one experience with a band, that one maybe record you listened to while working or something that kind of made you realize you really wanted to do this. Like, what got you saying, holy shit, this is what I really want to do? Like, and you can choose any option. That's just kind of my open-ended question. Like one moment that kind of defined.
So the tour that I realized that this wasn't just like a hobby where like I could do this. There's kind of two. There's like way early on. I'd been touring for maybe like 4 years off and on, and it wasn't really steady or anything. But a buddy of mine that I had toured with on my first tour ever got a call, and he had since retired, and he was out of the game, so he threw it to me. But he's like, hey, I got a call one day, and he goes, hey, do you want to drive for Entombed? And I was like, fucking excuse me? And he goes, yeah, Entombed. And I was like, yeah, you goddamn right I do. And it like didn't set in at first, but I was like, okay, this is cool. Like, this is a big deal. And they flew me up fucking to meet up with them. And they're like, I go to pick up the van, and I'm like, yo, we're supposed to meet in Baltimore. This isn't Baltimore. And they're like, yeah, you got to get the van and you got to drive down to MDF and meet them there. So I was like, oh, okay. So I'm like, I go down to MDF, and I remember I'm standing side stage, and this is like modern smartphones. You're like texting and shit. And I was trying to get a hold of Alex so I could meet up with the band, and I couldn't find him. So I went to the office at the fucking old Sonar and shit, and like, I'm like looking, and like, oh yeah, he'll be here. We got a hold of him, and I'm like, okay. And I'm standing side stage. I just remember Magruder Grind went up, and I fucking was losing it. And this dude's standing next to me, and he's got like his hoodie up and like his little hat and shit. And I'm expecting Alex to have the dreadlocks, because Alex always had the huge dreadlocks, but he had just shaved them off. And then I realized like me and this dude that were fucking banging head watching Magruder Grind fucking destroy is Alex. And I'm like, oh shit, okay. And then like we meet up and all that shit. The tour goes well. It was like a super short run, but they were like super nice. We got along great. And it was kind of like a high water mark for me at the time, because it's like a band I grew up listening to. And I was like, they seemed so much bigger. Like, they're one of those bands. So it was the first one of those big bands that I fucking got to tour with. But not that long after that, like a couple of years had gone by, and I got to do a run with Exodus in Europe. And it was one of those like weird fucking circumstance where I was finishing a tour, I had nothing booked, and then like we met up at a festival in Tampa actually, and I was supposed to work for them, and shit got fucked up, and then I literally just ended up drinking with them that night, hanging out because I had mutual friends working for them. And they're like, weren't you supposed to go with us? And I was like, yeah, but management fucked up shit, and we're all drunk, and they go, fuck it, buy a ticket. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, go buy a ticket right now. And I was like, oh, okay. And they're like, we'll pay you back when we get to Europe. Just go get it. And I was like, okay. And I literally went to the hotel with their tour manager. We got a ticket, and like 2 days later, I met them in Rome, and first European tour, and it's like, oh yeah, it's no big deal. It's just fucking Exodus, fucking dominating fucking Europe for fucking like 2 months straight, and that shit, I was already pretty deep into touring by that point, but it was one of those things where it's like, oh, this can be bigger than just touring with my friends and like, bands I know, because that was the first time like a band I didn't know personally, like I'd listened to them, but that was the first time another band had reached really out to me and was like, hey, you want to go fucking do this? And then it was like, oh, this isn't just a stupid hobby anymore. Like, I mean, it was already a job by that point, but I didn't realize it because it was just something I'd been doing for so long. And those two were both kind of like big moments. And then after that, it just really fucking took off. And, now it's it took off until 2020. Let's put it that way.
And I imagine networking is a huge aspect of being successful, and I mean, not just this industry, but in like specifically to what you are doing. Right?
Yeah, I mean, yes, like it helps a lot if you're like, it helps a lot. There's a lot of guys I've toured with that will go out and they'll network and they'll try to make friends with all the bands on the tour, but I don't want to do that, partially because I'm fucking lazy, but the other part is like I don't want to be friends. Like Matt can tell you from touring with me, there are people I don't like, and I don't give a shit what band you're in, who you are. I will tell you I don't fucking like you, and if I don't ever tour with your band, that's fine with me. And maybe it'll hurt my career, but I'm not going to suck somebody's dick and lie about how it tastes just so I can get a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Like I only want to tour with the bands that I only want to tour with, and like that's just how it's got to be, because like if I'm going to live outside the realm of normal society where I can't work a day job and I have to go on tour and be a fucking, weird road dog, at least I'm going to do it on my own goddamn terms, because there's a ton of people out there that are working for bands they hate and they're getting a paycheck, but they're miserable. If I wanted to be fucking miserable somewhere collecting a paycheck, I could sit in a cubicle and count the days until I eat a fucking bullet. Like, I'm not going out on the fucking road so I can do that. I'm going out on the road because everything else makes me miserable, and this is the only avenue that prolongs that bullet eating. Like, this has to be the way it has to be. And I mean, I have missed a lot of opportunities with bands where I've been suggested and I found out after the fact, they're like, no, he's fucking kind of a dick. And then I'm like, yeah, that's okay. I'm okay. I have no problem with that. They don't have to like me. Like, whatever. I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, my job is to make them money, and if I can make them money and they don't like me, that's fine. I don't have to work for you anymore. Like, if somebody was making me money, I could hate them as much as I fucking wanted, but if they hand me stacks of cash at the end of the night, I'd tell them they're doing a great job, and I would fucking, whatever. But that's just me. But yeah, fuck it. I'm only gonna work for the bands that I want to fucking work for at this point, and like, I'm too deep into it to deal with, petty high school bullshit where I network with bands just to make them, think I'm cool. And also the other thing is I don't do shit that a lot of people think is cool. Like, I don't like to smoke weed, and I know a lot of dudes, and I'm not shitting on smoking weed, that's fine, but I know a lot of dudes who've gotten gigs through like smoking weed with other bands and shit, hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, when I get done, I want to drink beers and listen to records and like do nothing. And like, fucking, a lot of bands don't fucking like that. And they're like, oh, how come he doesn't hang out? And it's like, because none of you were fucking interesting to me. Doesn't mean I don't like you. It just means you're not saying anything that tickles the part of my brain that is worth more than me getting out of my buck. Like, I mean, you've hung out with me. If we're having a great time, I'll be there. But if we're not, I'm fucking going to bed, and everyone else can eat shit. Like, I'm not here to prove shit to anybody. You got to impress me to keep me around. Not that I'm important, but like, my time has value, man. And sleep or like jerking off, that could be more valuable than listening to, fucking bullshit.
Well, thanks for sharing, man. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Absolutely. And it's always a pleasure to have Gerrity here with us. Everybody, unmute yourselves. Give Gerrity a big round of applause for coming out and hanging out with us tonight. I'm super stoked how this turned out, and I'm super stoked you guys are all here with me tonight. Make some noise for Gerrity, please.
Yeah.
Sir Gerrity, I want more Lemmy.
Hey, Thank you so much for listening right to the end. You know that I love and appreciate that. What an excellent hang we had last week at the Vox&Hops Thirsty Thursday virtual hang. It was so much fun. We have decided to do a Vox&Hops Thirsty Thursday gang Happy New Year party. That is right. On Thursday, December 31st, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we shall gather and celebrate the end of 2020 together. If you would like to come and hang out with us, just send me a message via the Vox&Hops social media pages, and I will hook you up with that link. If you enjoyed this Vox&Hops episode, you should most definitely go and subscribe to it on the podcast platform of your choice. But not only that, you can also rate it and write a review, because if you do that, more people just like yourself will be able to find the Vox&Hops podcast. Vox&Hops is brought to you by Sound Talent Media. I have one more episode coming at you tomorrow, but until then, remember to enjoy life, metal, and craft beer. Cheers, Vox&Hops heads.